tilapia. It's a nice white fish, and we're going to put some kiwi, jalapeno, ginger, spicy cream sauce. Just can't find a really good name for it, but it just has an incredible variety of flavors that we're going to add to this. So what I was doing was getting my flour ready. Seasoning your flour ahead of time whenever you're making any dish, it's going to make it taste better as you go along. So what I've started up, I've heated my pan. I have a nice vegetable stock rolling here, getting to a rolling boil to make our couscous. We're going to do some Moroccan couscous. We're going to add these flavors. And since we're doing a Mediterranean theme, most people say kiwi. Kiwi has a Mediterranean theme. That just doesn't sound right. Well, Italy is one of the largest growers of kiwi in the whole world. So, bet you didn't know that. Well, I didn't know that until 2 years ago. This is our tilapia. Nice flaky white fish. You could use grouper. You could use sea bass. Sometimes people call it a sea bass. You want a nice light flaky white fish that holds itself very well when it's being seared the way we're going to sear it today. What you noticed I did was put a couple of slits on the meatier side of the fish. It's going to help it cook faster. We are looking for a certain time that we're trying to speed up the process of its cooking, and that's a great way to do it. It also helps it cook more evenly. You have such a thin side, you don't want that overcooked. So we're just going to dip this in flour and get the fish started. So we'll dip one side, dip the other. We're going to start side down with the side that isn't cut, making sure our oil is nice and hot. Yeah. We'll get that searing in there. Okay, we'll let that sear. We have our vegetable stock going to a rolling boil, which we're going to hit in our ingredients there in a second. I want to get our fish started because it's going to take a little longer than our couscous, which will take a couple of minutes at most. We have some nice red bell peppers here, jalapenos that I've grilled off and then chopped up, de-seeded it as much as possible. The heat comes in the seeds. So if you want this dish to really have a lot of Scoville units, which is the units that how they figure out how hot something is, then leave the seeds in, leave the membrane in. If you don't, de-seed them. Use your gloves too, because you're gonna feel this later. Don't try and rub your eyes later. Little lime, kiwis that we've already cleaned and cut, because you don't want to watch me do that. Ginger, and if you've seen fresh ginger at a supermarket, it has the root look to it. Fresh ginger is great. Chop that up, or use pickled ginger. That'll go well for this dish also. So we're searing one side. I just want to make sure it gets a nice sear to it before we turn it over. Oh, that's beautiful. Let's just flip this. Taking it away from the heat. Sure, I'm a professional. I know how to flip things. Take it away from the heat, because if you flip it and splatter it, that's hot oil, and you're just getting it hotter by the minute. Whenever we cook anything, any fish or veal or chicken, and we're sauteing, we like to add our ingredients after we flip the first time. Keep it a minute or two on that side as high heat. You're searing, you're caramelizing, you're getting a lot of flavor, and then we're going to add our ingredients. I didn't mention one of the ingredients is sherry wine, and we'll leave it right there. Salting, because we know we're going to be adding these ingredients. Let's get some salt and pepper in there first. Throw a little garlic in there. Our ginger, that you want the flavor of the ginger to come out. I am not touching these. I have a little boy who runs around the house, and I can't pick him up after I touch these, so we won't touch him. We'll throw some red peppers in there. We're going to hold off on the kiwi. Now, you've probably already guessed why we're holding off on the kiwi. In case you didn't, I'll tell you why. They're already soft. They're going to mush to nothing. They will be gone. We want them as late as possible. Now, let's get a little flambe going. And once this flambe gets going, we can make our Moroccan couscous. Pull this away. Get that. Get a little. There we go. Oh. Yay. All right, we got a little flame on that. That's beautiful. Look at that. Isn't that gorgeous? We'll add a little bit of a lime. If you have a full lime, best way to get the juice out is roll it back and forth, cut it open. Then you could squeeze a fork in it, but keep it straight up so you don't get your seeds all over everything. Let's add a little lime juice. Variations on a theme. I mean, you'd love to do variations on this dish, and maybe doing tequila and lime and kiwi is really nice too, so you give it more of that Mexican feel. So, and then we'll just add our cream, and we're going to let this reduce. Okay. So, pretty much underway. Couscous. Couscous, Moroccan, Israeli, different types of couscous. Moroccan couscous is the one that is made out of semolina. Semolina is a grain that's used to make pastas. This is Moroccan couscous. Looks very fine. Some people think it looks like grits. It almost does when it's cooked up. So we'll throw a little bit in there. Usually go one part semolina to 2 parts water. It's going to absorb the water. And once the water is absorbed, that's when it's done. It's done rather quickly. We've chopped up some fresh cilantro, one of my favorite herbs, some fresh red onions, and some yellow pepper to give contrast to what we're working with here. So we'll throw a little bit of that in, and we're just going to give it a mix. Now, I didn't saute those down. I didn't do it on purpose. I wanted to get a crunchy feel from the peppers. I want them just to get a little bit of cook to them so it brings out more flavor, but I want them to feel crunched in there. And that's going to go, these peppers here will be broken down just a little bit more. Let's go back and check on our tilapia as we watch that sauce reduce. And our Moroccan couscous. You know what's nice in there too is a little salt and pepper. If you like fresh herbs, you know, you could put just about anything. You want to do a little more cilantro or some sage or oregano, maybe not with this dish. Maybe some fresh basil, that'll go nicely also. You could do just about anything you like based on what you enjoy. Now this sauce is reducing rather nicely. I'm just going to bring down the heat just a little bit. Now with fish, how do you know it's done? That's the biggest question. And we know this part's going to be done. How do we know this part's going to be done? By pushing apart. If it starts breaking apart under your fingers, it's basically done. It needs to flake. This needs a little more time. If you look at the Moroccan couscous, you see how it's evaporating all the water? I didn't even need to let it boil that much. I could have put a cover right over the top. It would have absorbed all the water that it needed to, and the rest would have evaporated. And it creates its little couscous. Here on this side, coming back to our tilapia, if you feel like your sauce is disappearing, you need to add a little bit more. Just a touch of vegetable stock to the cream doesn't hurt, but it kind of breaks the sauce apart. A little more cream works too, and then it'll be ready. This one here just is starting to flake apart under my fingers. It's perfect, and we just need to add our final ingredient, which is our kiwi. Wow, doesn't get much better than this. This couscous is a meal by itself. Amy will get mad if I don't use some really pretty fresh herbs on here. Watch this, watch. Oh. Kiwi doesn't need to cook down too much. Look at that. Wow. Let's do some herbs coming right out of the top. Look at that. Maybe just a little fresh lime juice just to squeeze around the side. And that's amazing. Tilapia, kiwi, roasted peppers, jalapeno, over couscous. You know what? Go make this right now. Right after you see this, go make it. Enjoy.